Tales from the top flight.
That's quality, Chris. You've got to love that. Do you see it?
It's incredible, isn't it, Justin? I mean, the efforts you guys have gone to make me feel at home.
Chris, honestly, the man hours that went into that, unbelievable.
I can only imagine.
We've got someone signed off with stress already just from helping to put that together. Chris, I just want to say this. I'm with George and Alex, representing Football Manager 17 on the lime green sofa. And we were just all discussing our mutual love for you. You're a genius, sir.
That's very kind of them to say that, and the money will be in the post. Unfortunately, it'll be in pounds, not euros.
OK, Chris, let's talk Chelsea United. What are your thoughts on that 4-0 hammering by Chelsea?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you might bring that game up, to be honest with you. It was very, very benevolent of Jose to take the heat off Pep this weekend by trumping City's performance by putting in that kind of performance for United. I mean, it's kind of the sort of performance you see from a Jose team about 24 months after they've won the league. He's fallen out with everyone and he's blamed the doctor for screwing it all up, really. So a little bit early for Jose there.
And what do you make of, I'm calling it the lost in translation moment, the hashtag whisper, Chris. Everyone wondering what Jose whispered into Conte's ear. We now think we know, courtesy of the Italian press, that he said something along the lines of, you do what you did at 1-0 up, not 4-0 up. Do you think it was deflection on Mourinho's part, or does he have a genuine grievance for Conte geeing up the fans when they were so clearly ahead?
No, I think he had a genuine question for Antonio, basically saying, well, a statement for Antonio, saying, I don't really know why everyone's getting on Pogba's back. I mean, to pay 89 million quid for a player and expect him to do well twice in a week, that's asking a lot.
Yeah. What do you think, actually, let's just mention the balloon door. What do you think of Pogba making the list of 8 Premier League players?
Again, it's a popularity contest, isn't it? If you command a big transfer fee, you're going to be on that list. I agree with your West Ham fan earlier. It means absolutely nothing in the real world.
Was the game a humiliation for Jose, do you think, Chris?
Was the game a humiliation for Jose?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, going back to your old neck of the woods and getting your pants pulled down and losing 4-0.
Yeah.
I mean, people were talking about how we parked the bus up at Anfield. It must have got clamped up there because, I mean, to copy and paste your tactics in from the previous game and then to concede within 30 seconds, it looked like the defence had never even spoken to each other, let alone played together. So, no, it was, yeah, I think it's fair to say it was a humiliation for Jose.
He looked completely clueless, Chris. He just, at the end of the game, he just didn't seem to know what to do, which is troubling for a Manchester United fan.
Yeah, but then he is that confident in his way to set up a team not to concede. It must have genuinely been one hell of a shock for him to be sort of taken apart like that. But then he's got quite a few Chelsea players there that might still want to put one over their former boss. So I can't imagine Conte had to use too much of his fiery temper to build the game up in the changing room before the game.
Chris, what I don't get, though, is that if you look at the Manchester United side that played Liverpool and, they got the draw and everyone said it was a negative game and the Manchester United fans weren't happy because it's a style of football that they're not, they don't like to play. It's not what they're known for. And yet they managed to grind out that draw. And then with Chelsea, total capitulation. What happened between the two games?
I don't know, but I mean, Liverpool got to have a look at themselves, really, haven't they? Their fans were chirping up after the game, saying how bad United have been and how negative they've been. Well, let's be honest, Chelsea have really sort of struggled a little bit themselves this year, and they've stuck 4 past United. If Liverpool are genuinely going to be taken as title contenders, they might have to look back at that performance and wonder genuinely if it was 2 points dropped.
Yeah. 2 points dropped. What an amazing thing to say. But I suppose if you're a Liverpool fan, you have to consider that.
Yeah, the biggest thing that's been missed out, the biggest missed opportunity of the whole United-Chelsea game, though, was the lack of Roy Keane being a pundit on the day. Could you possibly imagine Roy Keane on live television watching that game and just having an opinion on it? It would have been the first time Sky would have been taken off air for foul and abusive language. I mean, he would have absolutely lost it on live TV. Giggs made quite a good point. Yes, Giggs did make quite a good point about the shirt swapping and smiling at the end of the game, but you can just imagine Roy Keane seeing that. Oh, it would have been comedy.
He would have had a couple of prawn sandwich style comments to make there, I'm sure.
Just one or two.
Zlatan just didn't seem to be fussed at all at the end, in particular.
I mean, Zlatan's had 2 games where he's had to basically stand up front on his Todd, watch a team struggle and wonder if he's going to get the ball. And then when he gets the ball, it's been so long since he's last had it, he's forgotten what to do with it. So, I mean, Zlatan, everyone was talking about the saviour being at United and everything. And I think we are genuinely seeing a once great player who's still got a lot to offer in many ways on the decline in his career. And let's be honest, United are creating a bit of a stable of them at the moment. So
absolutely. We've had a goal, and Arsenal, who are playing Reading tonight in the EFL, Chris, have scored courtesy of the Ox. The Ox has put Arsenal 1-0 up. I'll ask you about Arsenal Reading shortly, Chris. But just going back to Chelsea United, Conte's 3 at the back system is really working out. They haven't conceded since they played Arsenal now.
No, they've done very well. I mean, Conte, let's be honest, the guy's a class manager. You don't do what you did with Juventus when they were rubbish when he took over and be a bad manager. I mean, the guy is going to turn Chelsea into a good side, providing they keep faith with him and don't buy into the rumours that were in the press a few weeks ago that they're going to sack him. I mean, credit to the guy. He's made David Luiz look very good in the last few games. So he's clearly working on a system that suits them. Victor Moses is in the side and actually starting to live up to that potential that he showed about a decade ago.
Just on David Lewis, Chris, he clearly should have gone for that studs up challenge, surely.
Don't listen to Jose. Don't buy into Jose's narrative of what went on in the game. Let's just enjoy the fact that Chelsea spanked them 4-0 and Jose looked like a plum. OK,
And on that note, we'll move on to Manchester City, Southampton. What were your thoughts on that game?
Well, this crisis at City, I mean, it's a bit like a billionaire being down to his last 50 million quid, really, isn't it? It's not much of a crisis. So they haven't won in 5 games, but they're still top of the table. The main worry for me, though, is that City are in slight danger of actually proving McManaman and Hoddle right about their tactics at the start of the season. In the Sunderland game, it looked like Hoddle and McManaman had never watched a game of football in their lives, especially a Pep game, when they were commentating on the Sunderland game. But I have to admit, and especially with Alex being a Southampton fan on the sofa tonight, I openly admit, and always openly admit, I actually know nothing about this game because I said Claude Puel was going to be the first guy to go this year. And to be fair, he's kind of turned it around a little bit, so credit to him.
Here's a stat for you, Chris. You know how much I love my stats. So the last time Pep went 5 games without a win, which is, of course, their current record, he won the treble with Barcelona.
I mean, that could almost be a reminder that the season is a season long and not literally ended by the end of October. It's no great shakes at this stage at all. The biggest thing Pep's got to worry about at the moment is that Toure, Yaya, he's got an even bigger sulk on at the moment because the 5-year-old fan popped into the training ground the other day and gave Gundogan a birthday cake. I mean, if there's one thing that's going to wind up Toure, it's somebody else getting a birthday cake in the City changing room.
Chris, we don't normally talk Broomers, you and I, but here's one from Jack, our Arsenal fan. He tweeted this into @FANTV earlier on about Toure, it's been rumoured, moving to Arsenal in January. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, he's an absolutely stereotypical Arsenal signing, isn't he? I mean, he's over 6 foot to start off with. He doesn't run around much in midfield. And he's over the age of 30. Absolutely nailed on Arsene Wenger signing that.
And Chris, have you got some Watford news for us today as well?
Yeah, Watford, that's popped up in the news today. Good old Telegraph. It's almost as if they don't like football and they're trying to take it down one little sort of brick at a time, really. I'm sure all of us have been a little bit creative when we're filling in those loan application forms and might have sort of like over-egged how much we really, really earn. But it turns out that allegedly, and just for the lawyers, allegedly, the Pozzo family might have faked a bank letter suggesting they had the money in the first place to be able to buy Watford back in 2014. Now, to be fair, though, it's not as if they run the club particularly badly, so there's probably every chance that the FA are now going to pick on these guys and hound them out, but we'll keep letting the Chinese investors come in each week without checking them at all. That'll be fine.
And finally, Chris, let's talk about Arsenal Reading in the EFL Cup. Arsenal have scored courtesy of the Ox. They're winning 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal will be delighted if they go through. They'll probably get all the way to the semi-final with their reserve team, and then he'll stick out the first-team boys in the hope of winning a trophy and get beat. At the moment, Arsenal, like the guys earlier were saying, most of these teams have got bigger priorities at this stage. Chelsea and Liverpool would probably like to go quite far in the League Cup, but the other guys, they don't really care at the moment.